Hey, hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we are going to learn how to configure Azure Application Gateway. We are going to add two virtual machines with the default custom page. We'll install IaaS as well, and we'll see how the round robin work. We will walk you through all the key features of Azure Application Gateway, such as SSL termination, URL based routing, then session affinity. We'll discuss about those topic as well. So let's get started. So first we will understand what is Azure Application Gateway. Azure Application Gateway is a web traffic load balancer that manage and route incoming HTTP and HTTPS requests to the backend server. In a simple terms, and in a technical way, we can say that Azure Application Gateway is the layer 7 load balancer, because if you might aware that we have a load balancer, right, Azure load balancer, and that works on the layer 4, and this is the Application Gateway is also one of the load balancer, layer 7 load balancer. It has some additional features, makes routing decision based on the content of the request. So now we understand what is the Application Gateway. So now let's understand Application Gateway key features. So these are the key features of the Application Gateway. Let's say the first one is the round robin load balancing. So what exactly round robin load balancing? So basically, so this help distribute the load across the all your backend servers. For example, let's say if you have a three VMs and all the VMs are running in an identical copy, I mean all the three application VMs install and configured is identical. So each visitor or each request will be served by the different VM in a routing sequence. Let's say if you hit the, let's say you have a URL called xyz.com. So whenever you hit the URL, that it will land to the like VM1, and then second request will go to the VM2. So like this the round robin works. Now let's understand second key feature is the session affinity. So what is session affinity? So session affinity ensure that once user or request connect to a specific backend server, all their request or all their the future requests will route to the same server during that session only. So basically it, we have application gateway has a one session affinity called application gateway affinity. So it help us to achieve this. So this useful when your application maintain the session data. Now third key feature is this SSL termination. So SSL termination allow application gateway to decrypt the HTTPS traffic at the gateway level. So normally, each backend VM get, certs, and it try to, decrypt the secure traffic. And due to these kind of activity, usually CPU get, high utilization. So with the SSL termination, so gateway will do that. Gateway will handle all the HTTPS decryption. VM will, just focus to serve the request. Now let's discuss about the URL path based routing. This feature help us to route the traffic based on the path of the request, and you can define rules to send the traffic uh, um, on a specific path. Let's say you have a application URL called as I said that xyz.com. Okay, it has some different features. Let's say you can do, let's say you have multiple backend VMs. So let's say xyz.com/images. So what will happen? So URL path base, I mean you are defining one path called images. So what will happen, it will route that request to the specific backend VMs where we are processing or managing the images. Same way, let's say you have a second path based routing called videos. Okay, so let's say whenever user hit the xyz.com/videos request or URL, it will go to the that specific backend pool which is going to have that I mean that configuration, let's say videos configuration, that server is responsible to handle the videos requests. So this is one of the best key feature of the application gateway, which is URL path based routing. Now second feature is multi-site hosting. So multi-site hosting allow you to host multiple website on a single application gateway. You don't need to, like, if you are managing, if you want to manage like two different website called, like, xyz.com and abc.com, you don't need to you don't need to separate gateways. Okay, you can manage application gateway can route the request to the different backend pools based on the domain. So in that way you can save the cost as well. Let's understand like health probes. Application gateway use health probe to continuously monitor the status of the backend instance. You can customize the probe based on the port, path, and response code and interval. With this, we can get our have application high availability. So this is the one of the key feature of the application gateway. So now let's talk about rewrite rules. So rewrite rules allow you to modify request and response header, even the URL path before the request reach to the backend. So you can also set up HTTP to HTTPS redirection. If you want to, let's say, if you want to set the redirections, right now your application URL with the HTTP, you can route that to the HTTPS directly. So you can simply rewrite a rule and make this possible without touching your backend codes or backend VM. Now let's understand web application firewall. So the WAF, it is called WAF. So WAF features provide centralized protection for your web application from the common threats and vulnerabilities. There are multiples rule into the WAF. We will show you that. So it help to defend against the attack like SQL injections, then cross site scripting and more. So application gateway will detect the vulnerabilities activity and block that request automatically. So WAF in that WAF will come into that picture, and this is the one of the best feature of the application gateway. So that's it for key features. So let's jump into the Azure portal and we'll create Azure application gateway step by step. To create application gateway, first what we will need a virtual network, we will need a two application server. So let's get started. So first what I will do, I will create a VNet. Okay, let me go to the virtual network. So here we will go to the virtual network. So if you can see, we do not have any VNet here. So we'll go and create a new virtual network. So right now I do not have any RG as well. So what I will do, I will create one RG first. So app gateway RG, and here I am going to set name called app gateway net. Now click on next. So here I need to define address space. Okay, so what I will do, we are going to use the slash, we can use slash 24. Next. Okay, we'll click on next first, review and create. So here we have created subnet for our virtual machine. Yeah, so we have successfully created a VNet. Let's go back. Now we will see. So first we will create a two Azure virtual machine. So let me go to the virtual machine quickly. We'll create quickly Azure virtual machines. So I'll put VM1. I don't need this one. We'll use Windows Server 2019. Yep. So I'll put the. Okay, so let's click on next. we'll keep the we'll use the standard HDD here. We'll keep the default setting. We already have a subnet, so we are going to select this subnet to creating Azure VM. We'll use the public IP for access, and remaining settings will keep as it is. So click on create. Same way we are going to create one another VM. So let me quickly create that one as well. So let's go back to the same RG, and here we'll use the VM2. Same, we don't need this one. I will keep the setting default. Yep. Same way we'll use the standard HDD. We'll keep the default setting. It's great. Yeah, so now we have created two virtual machines. So what we are going to do, we are going to install IS, and we'll set one custom page to check how that traffic work. Yeah, so let's go to the, yeah, so this one is already built. So let's go to the virtual machine, and yeah, here we can see that we have a VM1. So we need to wait for a few minutes. Let me refresh. So let's try to do the RDP. Right now agent state is not ready, but we'll see if it work or not, then otherwise we'll wait few minutes more. Yeah, here we go. So we have logged in the application server. I mean, it's not application server, but here we are going to set this server, we are going to set as application server. So for that we need to install IS, and we need to set one custom page. So let's quickly install the Windows feature called our web server. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a PowerShell to install the web server role. So what we are going to do, we'll go to the PowerShell. Yep. So here I have a PowerShell script. We will share that PowerShell script into the description. So simple, we have to install this web server feature. So we will run this, and we are going to set one default HTML with message called welcome to VM1. So let me run. So first what it will do, it will install the Windows feature which is web server, and it will set the one custom page into the IS. Same way we are going to take RDP for our another virtual machine. So let me refresh. Yeah, so let's access the second VM as well. Copy, same to the MSTSC. Great. So yeah, so we have a setup IS on a VM1. Now we are going to install same settings to the VM2, but here we are going to change the welcome message only. So let's do that. Yeah, same way we are going to open PowerShell here. Here we go, and close this. We'll go to the PowerShell. We have our script ready. So here what we are going to change, we are going to change the our welcome message, and now for this, for VM2 we are going to set welcome to VM2. So let me run this. So it will set that custom page and it will install the feature called web server. So now what we will do, we will go ahead and we'll create the application gateway. So before creating application gateway, what we will do, first we will create one public IP for our application gateway. So let me go to the portal quickly, and here we'll search public IP address, right? So here we'll create another public IP, and I'll put the name called app gateway public IP. Okay, we'll keep the standard. Okay, so we'll keep the setting as it is. We'll click on next. Protected type, we're not going to change anything for public IP. So far we have a created virtual network, we have a created two virtual machines, now we have a created one public IP. So now we'll create quickly, we will go to the application gateway and we'll create one application gateway. So here we go. Once this resource get deployed, then we'll start the application gateway creation. Yep. So we are good with the public IP as well. Now we'll go to the application gateway. Yeah. So let's click on create. We are going to select same RG. So here you need to define your application gateway name. So I will put my app gateway. You can define as per your convenient or as per your need. So we are going to set standard v2. So if you can see here we have a multiple tiers. So like you can create basic as well, standard and WAF. So we'll discuss this, what is the difference between these three, we will discuss in the next video. So but for this demo we are going to set standard v2. So I'm not going to use auto scaling, but yeah, this feature also it helps to the to I mean what it will do, it will not auto scale your application VM, it will auto scale your application gateway itself. So I don't need this one. Instance count I don't need. Okay, this is the zone, availability zone, you can keep as per your need. And here you need to define, sorry, here you need to define your subnet. Oh sorry, first you need to define your application vnet, and then here subnet must only have a application gateway. So we'll create another and click on add. Let's see if it works or not. So we are going to select default, this one, 2. Okay, so now we have a separate subnet for the app gateway. Now click on next. So here the traffic entered the application gateway via this front end. Okay, so here you need to select that public IP which we have created. So this is our public IP which will, I mean all the requests will land to this IP only. Here we have a multiple options, like you can see you can use a public IP, private IP and both. Or if you want to use this application gateway for internal network only, then you can use as a private or you can use both. So here I'm going to set as a public. Now click on next. So here you need to create a backend pool. So if you can see, a backend pool is a collection of resources to which your application gateway can send traffic. So basically we have a created two application VMs. So we are going to add those application VMs to the this application gateway. So here click on add backend pool. You can give the backend pool name called my app gateway backend. So add pool without a target. You can add pools without target, or you can define here itself. So let's say I want to select virtual machine. See, there are multiple options. You can define a, I mean, you can add a multiple backend pools. Let's say you can use backend, you can add a virtual machine as a backend pool. You can add a VMSs as a backend pool, or else if you're using app services, that also you can add as a backend pool. So in our case, we are going to use virtual machine. So let's select virtual machine. Here you will get the VM details. So let's say we have a two VMs. So we'll add this first VM one, then another second VM. We'll add here our second VM. We'll click on add. So once we click on add, this backend pool will get added. So now click on next. So if you can see here, we have a created front-end IP, right? Now we have to define our routing rules. So if you can see, we have a backend pool as well, and we have a front end. So basically what routing rule will help, it will communicate from front end to backend. So this routing rule will help for that. So here we are going to create one routing rule. So let me go to the routing rule now. We'll define routing rule name my app gateway rule. Here we are going to put priority. So we have a priority 1 to 20,000, and 1 represent highest priority and 20,000 is lowest. So accordingly your requirement, you can set the priority. So I'm going to put 1. Here we are going to set listener name. So let's say my app gateway list, and we are going to use HTTP port. So we are going to keep the basic setting, and we are not going to define a custom error fetch for this. Yeah, so listener is, we have defined listener. Now go to the backend target. So if you can see backend pool, here you need to define your backend pool. So we already created our backend pool. So just select that backend pool, and here you need to define backend setting. So let me quickly create add new backend, sorry, and let's create a backend setting. Here let me put my app gateway backend setting. We are going to use backend port as a 80. So as we discussed earlier, cookie based affinity, you can enable the cookie based affinity features as well. It's up to you. I mean, if you want to use this feature, you can use in your production environment. Also this feature is connection draining. It is also helpful whenever, I mean, it's very useful feature. This is a request timeout. We are going to keep this setting as it is. We are not override with the new host name. If you want to use that, you can put the host name. So in my case, I'm not going to use that. Now click on add, and now click on again add. So now we have a successful created like front-end IP. Then we have created a backend pool. Now we have a set the routing rule as well. Now click on next. I don't want to define any tags, but you can define as per your need. Now click on review and create. Yeah, validation is passed. You can validate your settings here, and now you can click on create. So now is deployment, it is in progress. It's submitting deployment. So we'll wait couple of minutes, and then we'll test our application as well. So I hope you understand how we can, what is the load balances, what is the application gateway, what is the key feature of application gateway, right? And how we can create application gateway from portal step by step. Yeah, here we go. So we have a successfully deployed application gateway. Let's go to the application gateway. Now just click on application gateway once again. Yeah, this is our application gateway, and this is our public IP. Now click on application gateway. So we have a multiple options into the application gateway. So if you can see, these are the options. configurations, backend setting, backend pool, front-end IP configurations, listener rules, rewrite, health probe. You can define it as per your need. So let me go to the okay, let's open the now let's say go to the monitoring and into the backend health. You will see what is the status of the backend health. Yeah, if you can see now my both backend VMs are healthy. Currently we have not defined any health probe here, but you can create a health probe as per your need. Okay, so I'm not going to create health probe here, but yeah, right now if you can see my backend health are is giving response to the 80 port, and hence it is giving healthy status. So what we are going to check now, we are going to see how that round robin works, right? So let me open another tab. So let's go back to the app gateway once again, click on overview. So this is our public IP. This is our public IP of our app gateway. So open the new tab and type HTTP and then enter that public IP. Okay, and now hit the. So if you can see here, we have created our virtual machines with the IS and this custom page. So now your request is landing to the your request is served by the VM1. So now let's quickly refresh, or let's try to open another tab and we'll again hit the okay, still it's VM1. So what we're going to do, let me open another browser here. We'll use the private one and we'll hit the here. Okay, still it's VM1. So let's, yeah, if you can see now the request is served by VM2, right? Earlier it was VM1, correct? And now when I'm trying to hit the request, it is now VM2. So we'll put here again. Okay, now it's a VM1, now it's a VM2. So whenever you refresh repeatedly, it will change the request. See, welcome VM1, now it's a welcome VM2. So I hope you guys understand how traffic is, I mean load is distributed in between, like between VM1 to VM2, and this is the round robin method. That's it for today's video. We have we have now seen, I mean, how we can configure Azure application gateway. We understand how that a round robin works, into round robin load balancing works. We use two IS servers. Also we understand we understand key features of the Azure application gateway. So if you found this video helpful, please subscribe our channel. Thanks for watching. See you next video.